What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm reviewing a movie that completely caught me off guard in the best way possible. Project Wolf Hunting from 2022. I went into this one totally blind. No trailer, no synopsis, no spoilers from friends, nothing. I just pressed play with zero expectations, and wow, I was presently surprised with what I witnessed. The film follows a group of extremely dangerous criminals being transported aboard a massive cargo ship from the Philippines to South Korea. These are some of the worst offenders imaginable, heavily guarded and chained up for the journey. But when an escape attempt goes wrong, it sparks a full scale riot within the ship. That's when all hell breaks loose and a sinister, terrifying force is unleashed. From there, it becomes a brutal, non stop survival nightmare movie at sea. Now, look, I've seen a lot of violent movies in my time, but Project Wolf Hunting takes it to a completely another level. This is by far the most violent and bloodiest movie I've ever seen. That's completely unflinching in its brutality. The filmmakers do not hold back. They go straight for the throat, sometimes literally, and show every gruesome detail. Some scenes are so intense and graphic that they were generally hard to watch, even for someone like me who enjoys brutal horror and action movies. What makes the violence hit even harder is the fact that there was no CG whatsoever in the movie. Everything you see is practical effects, practical makeup, prosthetics, squibs, and real physical stunt work. That realism makes the gore feel so much more tangible and disturbing, in my opinion. You can feel the weight of every punch, stab, and slash. In an era where so many movies rely heavily on digital blood and CGI effects, Project Wolf Hunting stands out by going old school and making the violence feel raw and authentic. Beyond the gore, the movie moves at a brisk, relentless pace. I didn't find a single boring moment throughout its runtime. The tension keeps building, the action sequences keep escalating, and it never slows down long enough for you to catch your breath. Whatever it's Whether it's brutal hand-to-hand fights, shootouts, or the monster rampaging through the ship, the film remains incredibly entertaining from start to finish. Speaking of the monster, in a traditional horror sense, it might not terrify the average viewer, but it was scary for me. There's something primal and unsettling about how the monster moves, the way it dodges bullets with unnatural speed and then charges straight up at its victims in these fast, aggressive bursts is generally frightening to witness. It creates this feeling of pure dread. Like once it locks into you, there's absolutely no escaping from it. The practical design and movement made those chase and attack scenes some of the most memorable parts of the movie for me. Of course, not every movie is perfect, and I do have a few criticisms. There were a handful of supporting characters that I found pretty annoying. Their decisions and dialogue sometimes pulled me out of the experience. I also noticed a few scenes where the monster had the main character dead to well, I would say it was like instead of there was a lot of scenes where the monster could have easily have killed the main character, but for some reason it didn't, and that part wasn't explained in the movie. On a more positive note, I really liked the twist ending. It caught me by surprise and added an extra layer to the story. However, the final confrontation between the main villain and the hero felt a little weak compared to the rest of the film. which was well choreographed and the intense fight scenes. Um, so with that, it's just that the ending between the main character, the two main characters, the main character and the villain, wasn't as satisfying for me. Overall, Project Wolf Hunting is a wild, bloody, and highly entertaining thrill ride that knows exactly what it wants to be and knows what the audience wants. It delivers some of the most committed practical gore and action you'll see in a modern film with a pace that barely lets up. While it has a few minor character and pacing hiccups in the final act, the sheer intensity and creativity on display make it easy to recommend for fans of violent action horror movies. If you're looking for something brutal, fast paced, and packed with practical effects, this is definitely worth checking out, especially if you can go in as blind as possible as I did. It's This movie is not for the faint of heart, but that's exactly why it worked so well. I give this movie 3.5 stars out of 5. Have you seen Project Wolf Hunting? What did you think of the violence and the monster? And what did you think of the movie overall? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss future content from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.